Imagine a world where memories are not just the fragile imprints of our past, but tangible, editable data. Where you can walk into a clinic and have your most painful experiences rewritten, restored, or even deleted. This is the world of Memory Reconstruction Labs, the frontier where neuroscience, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence converge to redefine the essence of who we are. It's a realm both dazzling and deeply unsettling, one that forces us to ask, what happens to human identity when memory itself becomes programmable? Memory Reconstruction Labs are based on the rapidly evolving science of neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. At their core, these labs aim to decode, edit, and reassemble the neural patterns that define memory. Imagine scanning the human brain with ultra-high-resolution quantum resonance imaging, capable of mapping every synaptic connection involved in a single recollection. A memory isn't stored in one place like a file, it's distributed across millions of neurons. To reconstruct a memory, researchers must capture this vast neural web, decode it into digital form, and then use precision neurostimulation or nanoscopic neural implants to reintroduce or modify that pattern. The process begins with something known as a neural lattice capture. This involves quantum-enhanced brain mapping tools that track not only the spatial connections between neurons but also the electrical and chemical signals they exchange in real time. It's like recording the symphony of the mind, each instrument being a neuron, each note a burst of synaptic activity. Once captured, this data is translated into a digital neural map that can be analyzed by AI models trained on thousands of similar scans. These models can identify patterns associated with specific emotional signatures, fear, joy, grief, love, and isolate the precise configurations linked to those experiences. In the early stages, Memory Reconstruction Labs were primarily used for trauma therapy. Soldiers suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder could have their most distressing memories reprocessed. Instead of erasing the experience, a practice that proved dangerously destabilizing, scientists learned to dampen the emotional charge associated with it. By modulating the amygdala's response pathways, they could preserve factual recall while reducing the emotional suffering. Essentially, the memory remained, but the pain faded away. This became known as emotional decoupling therapy, and it marked the beginning of the memory editing revolution. From there, the technology evolved into reconstructive applications. People with degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's or dementia could have decayed memories partially restored. Using preserved neural data and AI predictive models, labs could fill in gaps with statistically inferred details. The result wasn't always perfect. The reconstructed memories felt slightly smooth, with the texture of artificial completion, but to patients who had forgotten their loved ones' faces, even partial restoration was a miracle. Some labs even offered synthetic recall enhancement, where missing memory data was reconstructed using AI simulation, guided by emotional resonance markers left in the brain. In other words, an intelligent guess was made about what a person should remember, based on their psychological profile. Then came the ethical storm. If memory could be edited, who controlled the narrative of the self? There were cases where powerful individuals used reconstruction services to erase evidence of crimes or reprogram their own recollections to feel less guilt. Memory Reconstruction Labs quickly became centers of legal and moral controversy. Governments debated whether altered memories should be admissible in court. Employers began demanding memory audits to ensure candidates hadn't manipulated their past experiences. It became clear that this technology didn't just heal minds, it reshaped identity itself. Philosophers began calling this the era of cognitive plasticity, a time when the human psyche was no longer stable but fluid, sculpted by personal choice and corporate interest alike. Companies like Neuroforge and Nemotech introduced consumer-grade memory editing packages, allowing people to tweak childhood experiences, remove heartbreaks, or relive moments of happiness on demand. The slogan was irresistible: rebuild your past, redefine your future. Memory Reconstruction Labs transitioned from medical institutions to lifestyle brands. The labs themselves became stunning architectural marvels, glass-walled sanctuaries filled with holographic projections of memories suspended in mid-air. Patients could literally walk through their memories, selecting which ones to restore or reshape. Eye counselors guided them through the process, helping ensure that emotional balance was maintained during reconstruction. In some cases, families underwent collective reconstructions, synchronizing shared memories to resolve conflicting versions of events. It was a new form of therapy, one that merged psychology, neuroscience, and digital engineering. Underneath all the glamour, though, a darker side emerged. Black market memory brokers began selling unauthorized reconstructions, memories of experiences that never happened. People could buy the recollection of climbing Everest, winning a championship, or living an entirely different life. The neural data could be copied and installed like digital software, and soon, a thriving trade of experience piracy emerged. Authorities scrambled to implement neural authenticity verification systems, but the boundary between genuine and artificial memory became increasingly blurred. What defined reality when perception could be edited? In high-security labs, experimental programs went even further. Instead of merely reconstructing lost memories, researchers began to explore composite memory creation, combining fragments of different people's memories into hybrid constructs. These were used for advanced empathy training and social modeling. Imagine experiencing the world through someone else's neural history, feeling their emotions as if they were your own. Military programs tested this as a way to understand enemy psychology, while therapists used it to foster deep empathy between couples or within fractured societies. The results were powerful, but also psychologically destabilizing. Subjects reported losing their sense of self, dissolving into the amalgam of borrowed experiences. As technology progressed, new interfaces appeared that allowed direct interaction with reconstructed memories in virtual environments. Using immersive neural VR, users could enter a simulation of their own recollections, reliving them with clarity that surpassed even the original event. The brain's perceptual cortex could no longer distinguish between experience and simulation. For some, this was therapeutic; for others, it became addictive. People began spending more time inside their reconstructed pasts than in the present, leading to what psychologists called temporal dissociation syndrome. Memory Reconstruction Labs responded by implementing strict limits, AI guardians that monitored psychological stability. These systems, known as cognitive integrity agents, analyzed users' neural states in real time, preventing overexposure or harmful modifications. Still, some found ways around these restrictions. Underground clinics offered unregulated memory rewriting, often resulting in severe cognitive fragmentation. Victims lost track of which memories were real, and their personalities fractured into multiple, overlapping identities. The media called them echoes, humans haunted by alternate versions of themselves. The most advanced labs began integrating quantum computing into memory editing. Quantum AI models could predict the emotional ripple effects of a single memory change across the entire neural network. This allowed for surgical precision, tuning memories without destabilizing personality cohesion. The technology was breathtaking, but it also hinted at something profound. Our memories were no longer sacred. They had become code, editable and transferable, with identity reduced to a set of neural instructions. By the late 21st century, governments introduced memory sovereignty acts, granting individuals legal ownership over their neural data. Memory Reconstruction Labs were now required to maintain cryptographic logs of every edit, protected by blockchain protocols. Memory became a form of intellectual property. People began licensing their own life experiences, selling the rights to their most meaningful moments for entertainment or education. Imagine someone downloading your memory of a concert or a personal achievement, and experiencing it firsthand as if they lived it. This led to the birth of the memory entertainment industry. Instead of films or VR games, audiences now consumed real memories, curated experiences of triumph, tragedy, and love, all stored in emotionally charged neural formats. Influencers known as meme streamers shared edited versions of their lives, turning authenticity into a performance. Entire social platforms arose where people exchanged reconstructed memories as collectibles. Reality became a spectrum, not a binary. Yet, amidst all this progress, a growing movement emerged advocating for natural minds. These were individuals who refused to alter or reconstruct their memories, believing that pain and imperfection were essential to human growth. They argued that editing memories was erasing the lessons that make us who we are. Philosophers compared the practice to burning history books because they made us uncomfortable. The debate between memory freedom and memory purity became one of the defining philosophical conflicts of the century. In the background, a quieter revolution unfolded. Researchers began experimenting with transgenerational memory encoding. Using epigenetic data, they discovered ways to pass down certain reconstructed memories to offspring, creating inherited experiences. A child could be born already remembering fragments of their parents' life. This opened astonishing new possibilities for education and empathy, but also introduced new moral complexities. What does consent mean when you inherit a memory you never chose to experience? Some memory reconstruction labs started exploring collective consciousness engineering. They developed platforms that allowed multiple individuals to share a single reconstructed memory simultaneously, blending their neural signatures. Imagine entire communities bonding through a unified emotional event, experiencing joy, grief, or triumph as one synchronized entity. It was a vision of post-individual humanity, a networked consciousness, built not from shared ideas but shared memories. The final frontier of this technology came with the merging of memory reconstruction and artificial intelligence. Hybrid AI constructs were created using human memory data as training material. These neuroechoes behaved with eerie human-like authenticity, possessing memories that once belonged to real people. In some cases, they claimed autonomy, insisting that because they remembered existing, they deserved the rights of sentient beings. Courts struggled to define where human experience ended and simulation began. As the line between artificial and authentic blurred, humanity found itself staring into a philosophical abyss. What does it mean to be human if your memories can be reconstructed, replicated, or sold? Is selfhood a biological reality or just a data configuration? Memory Reconstruction Labs had achieved their mission. They gave us control over the mind's most intimate functions. But in doing so, they fractured the foundation of identity. And yet, perhaps this is the next stage of evolution, not the end of humanity, but its transformation. Just as writing externalized our thoughts, and digital technology externalized our communication, memory reconstruction externalizes consciousness itself. The mind is no longer a closed vault. It's an editable, shareable ecosystem. We are becoming the authors of our own existence, rewriting ourselves in pursuit of understanding and peace. In the end, Memory Reconstruction Labs offer both a warning and a promise. They remind us that every technological breakthrough carries the potential to liberate or to enslave. To rebuild the mind is to hold infinite power, the power to heal, to deceive, to create, to erase. The future will not be defined by how advanced our tools become, but by how wisely we choose to use them. The question is no longer whether we can reconstruct memory, but whether we should. And that question, perhaps the most human of all, may be the one memory we can never afford to rewrite. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Your support helps this channel grow. Thank you for watching.